Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's do a complete beginner's guide to Lightyear Frontier, shall we? In this guide, what I'm going to do is fire up a brand new single-player game and walk you through the very basics of the controls, the UI, how to play, how to understand the different systems in the game, how to be successful, tips and tricks that I've learned from playing the game so that you can get started and really enjoy Lightyear Frontier. I'm not going to spoil the game, I'm not going to show you the fastest way to do things, or give you a build order or a technology order or anything like that, but instead I'm going to provide you with the fundamentals so you can enjoy Lightyear Frontier on your own. Now this game, it just came out, and I've been playing the full release in early access that the developers provided, and I'm going to use my experience and what I've learned from viewers on stream to fill in the gaps in the tutorial of the game so that you can understand what it's asking you to do and some things that are kind of hidden that are not initially obvious. A lot of Lightyear Frontier is pretty intuitive and it's a wonderful game, but it becomes even better when you understand a little bit of the philosophical underpinnings of what you need to be doing, what benefits you, and how to do some of the things that are not completely explained. So we're going to fire up a brand new game so that you can play along, or if you're thinking about getting the game, you can watch it and see if this is the kind of game that you might want to check out. So we're going to get into that right now. Sound good? Let's go. So when you select single player and you begin a game, it's going to ask you to name the world, and we're going to call it Incomp Tutorial. And we're going to just confirm that and fire it up now. You can play this game multiplayer co-op, and the basic controls that I'm explaining will apply to that, but the beginning of the game may be different. Also, because this game is on Xbox, Earth's no good anymore. Some, like you, have taken off for the Lightyear Frontier. You want a fresh start, a new home. There we go in our ship. Check out that interesting satellite. We're burning through the atmosphere, and our mech falls off the back. Yes, this is a farming sim in which we play and pilot a mech. So that is an amazing aspect of this game. Now, to finish what I was saying, this game is on Xbox as well, and so I'm going to be playing using a controller on the PC. I found that the controller, the gamepad, works great, so that is what I'm using. But mouse and keyboard, I tried that as well, and it works just fine too. So at this point, we've landed, and we are out of our mech, and well, our job is to get inside it if we want to get into this game and enjoy all the benefits that being inside a mech can provide. So the first thing we need to do is go find the mech. Now our objective is up in the upper left of the screen. In the top center of the UI, you're going to see a ribbon that displays a compass. In the text will show you what area or region you're in, and in the upper right, you're going to see time of day. Now, whenever there's time of day, I always worry about rushing because I don't want to get behind. Do not worry about rushing in Lightyear Frontier. This is a super chill game. Even though time passes, you are not under the gun at all. Take as much time as you want. Now, you'll also notice that about in the middle left of the screen, there is an icon with a gear and a dot and a little arrow, and that is our mech icon. And we can turn the camera to look at that, and you can see it'll say mech, and it's showing us that that's where the mech is. And it also shows you that icon up in the top center on the compass ribbon to help orient us to our objective. And this will always show you your mech, your home, anything that you've pinned onto the map as a waypoint, and also it generally shows you quest objectives. Alright, so I'm looking around using the right stick, and I'm moving with the left stick. And if I push in the left stick, I can sprint. Now, this is a really chill, laid-back farming sim game, and what that means is there are no survival elements. And look how beautiful this game is. This means that you can sprint as much as you want. There's no stamina. You can push A to jump. You don't have to eat. You don't have to drink. You don't have to worry about oxygen. You don't even have a health bar. This is a very, very friendly and cozy game. So we're going to kind of go over here and look at this beautiful field of flowers and these alien bird types flitting away. There's a waterfall happening, and there's plants here. But we're not going to worry about... Oh, somebody's trying to communicate us, but it's just coming in as static. We're not going to worry about too much just yet, resource-wise. And oh, well, now we can. Our pickaxe just popped up. So we've got a pickaxe right here, and let me talk to you about the controls of this pickaxe. So it's pretty straightforward. Right trigger uses the pickaxe to gather resources if they can be gathered with a pickaxe. And then left trigger, if you hold it, you see how it folds back and has this kind of blue magical field. This is how you pick things up if you're out of your mech. And you can pick them up with this function and kind of levitate them in front of you in that little gravity field that you're producing. Now, another thing I want to tell you is you can push left on the directional pad to switch to your other tool. We have a paint gun. This is just good for cosmetic painting of the mech and your house and such. We don't have any paint right now. It doesn't do anything, but it's good to know that you can switch between it. You can also push left bumper or L1 to open up a kind of radial menu where you can switch between the tools that you have when you're on foot. Most of the game, you're going to be in your mech, but if you're on foot, you do want to know how to use these tools, and you will be on foot sometimes if you're going places where you can't reach in your giant mech. Other functions that you have here, if you push R3 on the directional pad, you turn on a flashlight that works if you're in your mech or outside of your mech, and there's no battery, so have it on whenever you need it. And B will open our build mode, which we don't have anything we can build at the moment. And that's a pretty good starter explanation. So let's walk over here.
Finally, I'm getting through. That was quite the tumble you took there. Luckily, your biometrics tell me you're A-okay.
I'm A-okay.
But before anything else, let's put that mech of yours back in one piece.
Let's do that. So, what that friendly female AI with a southern drawl is telling us is to put our mech back together. And here's our mech right here. It looks amazing. I love the art style in this game, but it's missing some pieces. So right over here, you will find that there is an arm. Now this took me a second to figure this out. I'm using a controller, so you pick it up by holding left trigger, and you just will hold this arm in front of you and levitate it with your pickaxe gravity field. If you're using a mouse, I believe it's left click to do this. Now, it tells you in the left of the screen that you can launch things with the right trigger that you're holding, but you don't need to launch it. Just walk right over to your mech and get close enough to the blue outline showing you where the missing part is, and it just snaps into place. Same thing with your engine, which is right over here. I'm just going to pick it up with left trigger. I'm going to walk this over and just snap it into place, and there we go. Whoa! So there's our mech rolling toward us, and there are some hilarious things that happen with your mech's physics in this game. It falls over very easily. You will fall over a lot. You don't have to worry, at least as far as I've discovered, about your mech's health or hurting yourself with the mech falling over. It's all just kind of a little humorous bit to deal with, and you can flip it over at any time by just walking over to it, and you see the targeting reticule in the center of the screen, that little white circle. If you're aiming at something you can interact with, it will have a name on it. So it says mech if I'm looking at it, and then I can push X to flip it. Just one tap of X and it immediately becomes upright, and then now all I need to do is just keep looking at it, and then if you see the button press with a little circle around it, that means hold it in. So I just hold down X. And we are rocking and rolling. So now we have a new mission, which is to find our tools. But they're telling us right away that you can change your view by pushing down on the directional pad. And if I do that, you get this awesome third-person view. You can use the right stick to move the torso of your mech around and change the camera view to reflect wherever you're facing with your mech. And you can push down on the D-pad at any time, or a middle mouse button, I think, on the mouse, to change your view. And this is great because sometimes you want to be in first person, sometimes you want to play in third person, or other people like to exclusively play in one or the other, but this game lets you seamlessly switch between them. Now, your objective is now to find these pieces. Find the irrigation hose, the seed shooter, the spike saw, the sprout cannon, and the vacuum harvester. Now, I wasn't sure about this because I think I said that some quest objectives are marked on the compass ribbon, and it might not be very many of them, if at all, actually, that are marked that way. Sometimes I feel like it is, but I could be misremembering it. But in this case, it's not. In this case, it's visual. These giant orange plumes of smoke are where the pieces of our mech have gone that we need to go to. So all you need to do is just walk around with your mech to those locations and pick up the pieces that have fallen off. Now, I also want to say, before we get started, that I have a Let's Play of this series if you want to watch further gameplay. I also have a review of the game, and I'm going to link those in the description below if you want to check those out. Alright, so let's just head to...
Excuse my manners. One kind of starts suspecting guests after 200 years.
Touche.
Name's PIP3R. That's Piper for short.
Alright, Piper.
There in the sky. That blinking dot is yours truly.
That green dot.
But enough introductions. Let's get you situated and make you at home.
So you could see it's becoming evening. The game is getting darker. You can push L3 in to run with your mech as well. Now, there's a lot of stuff out here in the environment, but we can't interact with any of it because we don't have our tools, which we need. Alright, so it's getting darker. Shadows are moving. And let's run over here to this orange plume and see what's in this box. So all you need to do is walk right over, and it's the spike saw you can see as the tooltip explains. And you push X, and boom, you snap it into place. So it tells you that you can do a spike punch and a saw swipe, and the spike saw is used to break things. So let's test that out. So if I look at this green tree, for example, if I use, it says here spike punch is effective against stones and minerals, and saw swipe is effective against trees and plants. So that's the swipe with left trigger. If I do left trigger, I can hit this, and you see the health bar of the tree. And when you get all these items, it tells you you've discovered plant fiber, and then on the right of the screen, it tells you all of the recipes that you've unlocked with acquiring this new resource. So now, if I were to push select, I can go into my inventory, and this tells you what I've got inside my backpack or my mech, container. And I have 4 plant fiber and 5 wood that you can see. Now, this game is really nice with the UI because it tells you all sorts of helpful information about the items that you collect. One thing you want to pay attention to with your inventory box is at the bottom right corner of the box with your inventory, the left box, it tells you how much weight you're carrying and how much you can carry. So inventory, especially early game, becomes actually problematic as you carry a lot of heavy stuff. So you can only carry 60 units of weight at this moment. So I'm already at 4.4 out of 60. So pay attention to that. Then for plant fiber, whatever you have selected shows up in the right box here, and it tells you how much you can buy it for, roughly $1, and then how many you have, how much weight each one is, and how much weight it is for all of them that you're carrying is in parentheses. Then it tells you, what's really cool, what you can actually craft with it. So it tells you that it's used in the recipe for this, or it's used to build these things right here. So you can get a sense of all the different things you use plant fiber for. And the same thing for wood. It gives you the price. And I'm not sure if that price is how much you buy it for or how much you can sell it for. And the prices do fluctuate, as you see in the economics tab, but it gives you a rough sense of its value. Now, we can't sell stuff right now, but later we will be able to have a merchant land at our base, and we can buy and sell stuff. It's pretty early in the game when you get that. So you can look at your inventory and see these things, and then if I push right, I'm using right and left bumper on the controller to kind of move around the different categorical tabs in the pause menu or the select screen. And I'm in the meadows, which is this large region of the map that I already have explored. Now, all of the other regions that you could see the boundaries of them, you could see the question marks, That means I haven't been there yet, but all I have to do is travel there to uncover them. Now, this screen actually displays some really useful stuff, like number one, it tells you that in the meadows, I've fed 0 out of 3 nests. Now, we'll talk about that in a moment, but basically, if you feed animals, you get benefits in this game, which is really cool. It also tells you how many treasures you've discovered. So there's hidden items in the meadows. We found 0 of those. And anything else that would be important about this, it would show on this screen. Then it tells you what resources you can gather in the meadows in the upper right. Right now, we don't know. We have to kind of explore and find stuff. It also tells you what you want to feed the animals in this area, so basic fodder will work fine for these animals. And then let's look at this screen a little bit further. In the map, the yellow arrow on the map is me, and it points in the direction that I'm facing. Upper right of the screen tells you how much money I have, and of course you start with 0. Then we're going to just go right bumper again, and you can go to your journal and get a feel for what you need to do for the quest and what you have done. Then you can go to the economics tab, and you can see like the base value and the current value, and then the prediction of wood. So this will become more filled out as we get more resources and we interact with the merchant, but it's a good thing to look at for now, just in terms of knowing what you can sell. And then in the final tab over here, you have the database, and this is broken up into areas and findings. So in the meadows, you can just see the kind of same screen that we looked at, the world map screen here. And then if I go to this tab, this will get filled in as we do more exploration and find certain areas that will... I'm not going to spoil anything, but we'll see. And then I'm just going to push the B button to close that up. Now, it's really dark because it's nighttime, but remember, I said this was a very survival-light game. And what that means is you don't need to sleep. As far as I can tell, you can keep working and working and working. Now, as you build better houses and things to sleep in, you do get benefit from sleeping, so you want to sleep to get the buffs. But you can work through the night. There's no bedtime like in Stardew Valley or anything like that. You can just keep on working. Now, I pushed right stick in, or R3, to turn on my flashlight. And I want to show you that this green tree, it's going to give me... I'll chop it. By the way, you just hold down trigger to do this sweeping attack. And it can hit multiple targets, so it's really good when the trees and the vegetation are densely packed. But I got plant fiber and wood. What you gather is shown in the upper right, and all you have to do to gather most stuff is just walk on it, and it just automatically goes into your mech's inventory. But you see this yellow tree right here? I can use right trigger and just punch it like this. And honestly, it's pretty fast. Right trigger is preferred for harder stuff, minerals and rocks and things, but you can use it for trees if you want to do single target. But if I come over here, for example, I think, can I...
Never ceases to amaze. That
Yeah, I can hit 2 at once.
magnificent mech, those high-powered tools, and even that ship of yours. The Farm Mech project really was extraordinary. Such a shame that it got cancelled in the end.
What? The project got canceled, but what am I doing here? So it's telling you you can use the tool selection wheel by holding left bumper when you're in the mech, just like when I showed you when you're out of the mech, to switch between different tools. Now, we only have one tool, so there's nothing to switch between. But this rock, we can punch it, break it up, and we collected stone. It tells you that we've collected stone and all the things we can craft and build with it. So the tool that we have, the saw spike or whatever, the spike saw, rather, is so cool because it is both for chopping and it's like a pickaxe and an axe combined. So you can use it. There's a bush. You can chop this down to get plant fiber. And this rock right here, the big rock you cannot break, but the smaller rock you can break it. Remember, if you look at something, and either in third person or in first person, if you aim your reticule at it and there's no name that appears, you cannot mine this, you can't interact with it. But this one, this smaller one, you see how it says rock? Well, I could just break this up and I can get stone. And I'm just gathering different resources. I'm getting tree sprouts of these different types of trees, the yellow tree and the green tree, and I can use that to plant trees if I want. But I can't do that until I get all my tools. So you can see the sun is about to come up here, and as soon as a new day passes, you will get this cutscene. Just says, new day. And nothing is happening right now, but
Hey, hope you're well this fine morning. Those new mech parts made a world of difference. The best looking ride in the Frontier for sure.
so what's really cool is the AI will talk to you every morning and kind of give you a recap of what you did the day before and give you words of encouragement. Also, once we get a base established, there are different things that happen when a day passes, and the game will tell you about that. But right now, we don't have anything happening. Now, I've made it to a new area by coming up here called Pine Heights, and if I push select and go to the world map, you can see that this purple area, it says Pine Heights. So that's where we are right now, and it has an objective. And if I, oops, that's the pause menu, sorry. If I look at the upper left, I still have my main quest at the top, but then I have some other quests that have popped up. Restore Pine Heights, that's one thing that we want to do. Then we also want to build a place to sleep and build a workshop shed. So first I'm going to collect all the tools. Now, I was unsure what restore an area meant, but the game does explain it to you if you know where to look. I kind of thought this was like Planet Crafter, where you restored areas by planting and stabilizing the ecosystem in that way, but it's simpler than that. You see this noxious slime? This is what we need to get rid of to clean up Pine Heights. Now, you can walk in this, and it just kind of slows you down. It doesn't hurt you or anything like that. There's no damage. But we need a different tool to get rid of this. And in fact, if I go to select and I go to the world map, and you can see that it says for Pine Heights, I need to restore it. And I have 0% restoration process. Well, I can't restore it, but usually it's by getting rid of this kind of noxious slime or any corrupted looking weeds that you see. That's what you need to destroy, at least early game, to restore an area. Now, I'm just going to run through this. I'm not really worried about gathering resources at all right now, or even restoration, because I can't do that. What I'm doing is just making my way to the different plumes of orange smoke. You could probably do this, of course, without coming to Pine Heights, but it does give us a moment to explore it. Usually, too, the clue is you see these purple sparklies, like these little pink and purple sparklies that come up from the noxious slime. Anything, if it's a corrupted weed or whatever, that is dangerous to the area, that's what you can do to... Oh, and my mech fell down, but that's okay. That's what you need to get, is the purple stuff to clean it up. Now, you see how I jumped? Well, I'm going to go in first person. You can jump with your mech, and you actually have a jetpack. And at the bottom center of the screen, you'll see how much boost fuel you have for that jetpack. And you can fly for a pretty good amount of time there. You see that? But right now, it's not a huge amount. There is no fall damage that I can tell. So, just again, relax, enjoy the ride, don't worry. Can't break your mech. Now, you see how it says meadows, and it gives you a brief little graphic when you come in that tells you how many nests there are and how many resources that you've discovered, and just gives you a little synopsis of the area. Now, this is a flower right here. I'm going to go to first person and look at this. It's called a blue color flower, and I'm just going to bap it and slice it, and we got a blue color flower. And you can use this to make paint and some other things. So just getting new resources. Here's a red flower right here. Let's try to gather this guy. Got it. And there's a chest right here with the yellow smoke. Let's get it. It's the irrigation hose. Fantastic. So now we're in Pine Heights, and it's told us that we've got 1 out of the 5 resources here. I believe that's the information it wants to tell us. It's not treasures that we're seeing in Pine Heights. No. Now we see that there's actually 9 artifacts and 6 treasures, and that we've gotten 1 out of the 5 different resource types in this area. It might have been the flowers. So we got the irrigation hose, and it switched to that. If I hold left bumper, you see now I have this irrigation hose that has some water in it. So actually, I can spray this noxious slime with water like this, and you see how it disappears? And then now Pine Heights is 3% restored. So all you need to do to get rid of the slime is to just spray it with your hose. Now that looks pretty simple. Make sure you're aiming at it to get rid of it. Now we're up to 7%. However, our hose has a limited amount of water. You could see in the bottom center of the heads-up display, the water gauge. It displays like this in third person, and in first person like this. It goes away if you're not using the irrigation hose. And I could try to use this, but I got it. Great. Right before I ran out. We're at 10%. But now I'm out of water, and I actually cannot gather more water at the moment because I don't have the right tool. You see, here's water, but if I look at the water, again, you can interact with it because it says water when I'm pointing my mouse at it, or my cursor, and it says unknown tool required. So some games, you fill up the water with the water gun.
Earth was so quick to give up on the Farm Mech project, sending us probes out to the edge of the galaxy to scan for hospitable planets. That was no small feat. Desperate times, I suppose.
So, I'm going to go back to the meadows, and here's another tool over here. So you can, of course, use the chop or use the punch. The chop, again, better. It prefers it for plants, and it lets you hit multiple targets, but this game is not very punishing, so just use whatever you like. Seed shooter. All right, great. So we got ourselves the seed shooter, and we've got 3 out of the 5 tools that we need, and you can see, excuse me, the other ones are right over here.
Well, abandoning the Lightyear Frontier for Mars does make some sense. It was a lot closer and would sustain Earth's population, at least for a while.
So, you see this cool animal? It probably ran away. This bird guy. Number one, she's giving you story as we go, and I'm not really commenting on it, but you could see that this was a project to terraform a planet for humans that was abandoned because Earth is not in a good place. Now, it looks like, as she said, they've given it up for Mars, potentially, but then there's some question marks about 200 years passing and on and on and on, so we'll find out more about that as we go, but I find this to be important. You see this bird? Watch this. If I run at it with my mech,
Sure they appreciate a stomping mech.
the bird will run away, but you cannot kill or hurt the animals. This is a peaceful game. It'll just run away, and you can't hurt your mech either. So I was terrified that I was going to accidentally stomp one of those cute little creatures. You can't do that. You can't even hurt it with your tools. Well, I'm going to take that back. I haven't actually tried that because, I'm not sadistic, but you could try that if you wanted, but I haven't. It's not really that kind of a game. Okay, let's go over here. And so, right down there, ooh, you see those hexagonal silver kind of pillars coming out right here. Woo! This is aluminum. So I'm going to bap this, and we get a new resource, which is aluminum. This will let us make a whole bunch of new stuff. Now, what's very important to note right now about the game is that you see this little resource node. This is where aluminum will grow. I know that sounds wild, but in this game, every day, resources can respawn at the same point, like grow back. However, they only do that if you cultivate the area. One way to boost the rate at which things respawn is by using or feeding the animals. So all of these are potential areas that could grow aluminum, but they're not there unless you see it, and then we're going to gather it like that. But now it's telling me I can't even pick this up because I'm over encumbered. So that is an issue, meaning we have too much and we can't even run. So I'm going to go to my inventory and I'm going to drop something onto the ground. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop... How much am I encumbered by? A pound? Okay. How much do these weigh? These sprouts weigh nothing. So I'm actually going to split this stack of aluminum, select it, and I'm going to just drop like 2 of them. And that's enough to get below weight. Now, if you drop something to get below weight, be careful because you'll automatically pick it up again if you walk on it. So make sure you don't step on your own item that you've dropped. And now we're in a reasonable range for encumbrance. And this is important because I want to be able to run and move fast, and I just want to get the other tools. A lot of me wants to build us a base and do all that jazz, but we need to get the tools first. I think you don't really need to get the tools first. You can just build if you want by pushing the B button and going to the building and crafting menu. But I'm going to get the tools first to complete this so that we have everything and can talk about it. Remember, you could sleep inside your mech, is how I look at it. And we're going to walk right over here. We're going to pick this up. And we got the sprout cannon. So this is for planting trees and stuff. And now we just need the vacuum harvester. It's the last piece of the puzzle.
Who initially came to the frontier, taking a chance on this one-way trip, only to get abandoned. But for generations, they've managed to thrive here. Your neighbors are quite tenacious, huh?
I guess so. So we walked through Edge Cliffs and uncovered that, and then this is where we need to go, right over here. Last place. So we're just kind of exploring, uncovering new regions of the map, but we have a lot of really basic stuff to complete. So check this out. I'm going to just jump and then land, no problem. And I'm going to run. So this is totally a game you can just relax to, not have to worry about pesky things like repairing the durability on your mech. Oh, and I was right by the tool with the aluminum and I got distracted. That's classic me. Here it is, though. Just running around like a chicken with my head cut off, excited to play in this open world sandbox playground. And we got it. So now we have all the tools. And this is how we get water. So this is a really cool tool called the vacuum harvester. And you get water with this, but also you see what I'm looking at, these polyberries? This is how you get polyberry seeds. And I'm going to just fill up my water by just holding down right trigger and using this. So now our water is full, and I got some polyberry seeds. You cannot just gather fiber like that from that. You need to use this tool only on certain items to gather seeds and such.
I know you weren't sent here for a mission that's been cancelled for nearly 2 centuries. You probably found that ship in a scrap heap somewhere and took off for greener pastures, right? No need to answer. It doesn't matter anymore. I'm just happy to finally have some company.
All right. So you see all of those ZZZs? Those are sleeping animals. You can go feed them if you like, but we don't have any food because we don't have anything built. So I'm going to push select them to show you the map. Here I am in the meadows, and this is in my Let's Play. This is where I built my base approximately, and I think it's a great location because you want to be right near water, and you want to be near open area to build. So this is a really cool place to start, but you can build wherever you like. I'm going to push circle and open up, or B button, the crafting menu. And from the crafting menu, you can move through the different tabs with the right and left bumper. And this is just on the constructs screen with the 2 gears. That's what displays first. And then anything with an exclamation point in the upper right corner means that it has new recipes that have unlocked that you want to check out. So the first thing they want us to build, or that we're going to build anyway, is a workshop shed. So I'm going to select this. And then once you select the workshop shed, it just shows you this kind of blue holographic projection or blueprint of the item. We're going to put it down right here. And then I'm going to push B and close this. And now you need to build it by walking over to it and selecting it. And then you hold down X to add the ingredients. Bam! So we just had to put in the wood, and now the shed is done. And we've built the shed. Now they want us to build some stuff inside the shed, which we're going to do next. So now that we've got the shed built, it's time to build a small plot, a place to sleep, and an oil presser inside the shed. And let's start with the oil presser. So it is the second item that we can select from this radial when we push B to open the build and construction menu. And you can see that it requires 16 stone and 12 wood. So it tells you the ingredients that it requires, and it tells you how many you have. So the number on the left of the fraction is how many I have, and the number on the right is how many I need. And in the oil presser, it says it's going to press plants to create oils, which we need for all kinds of other crafting. So I'm going to select this, and then you can see I can build this. And if I can't build it, it becomes red. And if it's blue, I can build it. Now, I can still place the blueprint even if I don't have enough of the resources I need to build it, which is important. Now, another thing I want you to look at, you see this dashed line that's moving around the shed. This means that this is the boundary of the shed, and you have to build this presser within a shed to receive the credit for building it in the shed. And you can see the little blue line that connects the presser to the shed. That means that it is hooked up and synchronizing with the shed itself. So I'm going to put it right here. The green arrow on the front is kind of where the output from the items will be when they get finished being made. So I'm going to push A
Now this should make things easier.
to put that down there. I'm going to push B to close this menu. And then if I walk over to this, I can hold X to just add the maximum amount of materials I need to build this. I don't have everything, but I can hold X, and now you see there's a green check mark on stone. I've got all the stone added. But for wood, I have 4 out of 12, so I need 8 more pieces of wood. Well, that's pretty easy. I'm going to push R3 to turn on my flashlight. And I'm just going to push left on the directional pad. Go ahead and select my saw here. And we're going to come over into a clearing. I'm going to push down to go third person. And I'm going to push left trigger. And you see I'm chopping down 4 trees at once. Just holding left trigger. Remember, there's no stamina or energy or anything like that. You can just use this and just hold it down until you're done. Really, the only constraint that you have early on is carry capacity, item count, and money. Alright. And oh, it should be mentioned, space is a constraint when you start, and you'll see that when we start to build some more. I'm just going to kind of look at this in first person and finish it up. So we've built an oil presser. Now the quest has modified and it says craft any oil. So I'm going to push X, and the only oil that we can make right now is plant oil. Now as we gather more ingredients out in the wild, then more oil recipes will show. But right now this is all we can make. And now I'm going to push X on this, and you'll see what it does. It actually queues up an oil, and it doesn't make it instantly. It takes real life time. So this is going to take 30 seconds. But you see how below where this is being made it says in queue 0 out of 5? I can push X a few times, and I can queue up 5 more oils to be made. And it takes the ingredients from my inventory, and there it goes. And you could see a progress radial above the oil presser. And when that thing fills up, it's going to spit out a completed plant oil. You can watch them come out right there. And we got 2. And we can make some new stuff. A clothesline, a wash basin, and a torch, for example. So very fantastic. Now, I'm going to get myself a little room, and I'm going to build a place to sleep. So I'm going to go over here, and oh, new day, new cutscene. You can see my mech standing right there as this happens. And I'm going to...
Morning. Hope you had a good night's sleep. Don't forget to water your crops today.
All right.
Otherwise, it'll be a bit tough for them to grow.
Correct, but we have no crops, and we don't have any place to sleep, so we got to take care of that. So I need to leave this panel, this category that I'm in, which is constructs and crafting, and you can go right over here into the kind of star special items. Usually this is the stuff you need for quests, but I'm going to keep going until I get to... Oh, I passed it. The house icon. Whoops. I need this tent. So it's right here at the top, a small tent. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to put it in a clearing right here. And I'm going to push B to close this, and then I'm just going to hold it down, and bam, we built it. And now we have a little teeny tent built. Now I got to tell you, at first this kind of it seemed like a little toy tent, but that's because you're in your mech. If you hold X to get out of your mech, and then you go in first person, well, look how big your mech is. And then look how big I am, and then yeah, the tent is actually just about the right size. So remember that you're enormous because you're in a mech. So that's where we can sleep. So we've completed the credit for building the tent, but now we need to go to sleep. Now we can't go to sleep now because it's the morning, you have to wait until it's evening. But look in the upper right, it's telling you a couple of things. Looks like it's windy today, it's telling us some weather conditions. But to the left of that, clock radial, it's showing us our tent, and it has a 0 with a gray circle around it. Now we can fill up that radial around the tent by building decorations to increase the coziness or comfort of the tent, which will give us boosts when we sleep. So for example, if I push B to go build, and I go over here to where it says decorations, any of these, like let's just say I build this clothesline, for example. And now when I go to build it, you see the blinking square all the way around the tent. This is the area for your sleeping space. And if I build the clothesline here, you see the line connecting it. This means that the tent will receive the benefit from this clothesline being built. Now you can, as the controls display in the kind of middle bottom center of the screen, I can rotate it with left and right trigger. I can go to left bumper to just kind of like have free build mode and just put this thing wherever I want. But I can then go again to snap mode to have it more snap into place for fences and stuff. I'm just going to put this way over here at the edge. And I'm going to build it.
Really feels like you've got a vision here.
Yes, I definitely have a vision. And I build this, and now the clothesline is done. And if I go over here to look at my tent, you see in the upper right how the radial now has a portion of that circle filled in? That's because the clothesline has contributed to the coziness of my sleeping area. So the more of these decorations you build, like, you know, a wash basin or whatever, you know, put it right here, for example, and then just make sure that the line is connecting to the tent and that it's within the dashed area that's designated as the square of influence around your tent. Anything in that space that hooks up to your tent with that blue line will contribute to its coziness. So you see in the upper right how that is filling in even further, and that's what we're doing. So you can build, you know, the fireplace, you can build this flower bed, for example, all kinds of cool stuff. Put a torch down here, make it nice and light.
Really feels like you've got a vision here.
I do have a vision. And then we turn that on. And you can see we're getting up there to one level of coziness. Now, they also want us to build a small plot and to build an upgrade depot for our mech. So I'm going to kind of go into third person, and we're going to go to plots. Now, plots are over here in this star menu, and I'm going to select it, and I'm going to get a lot of space because I want my farming area to be enormous. So I'm going to kind of rotate this like this, and I'm just going to put it down. I'd say this looks pretty good right there. And you can plan out more. Like, I can plan as many as I want.
That'll be useful.
So I'm going to kind of plan an area like that, just to start out. And then I'm going to push B. Now, I'm not going to build all of these. I'm just... Well, the nice thing about the blueprint system in games is you can just build the blueprints first to space things out how you'd like. And now I'm going to just fill this in, and we have a plot that's been built. So now we've built the plot, but they want us to plant our first seed. So we need to select our seed shooter, and here it is. Now, sometimes it's kind of hard to see. I just was using the left on the directional stick to change, but if I hold left bumper and go to my seed shooter, you could see that it's selected the seeds, which are the polyberry seeds. Now, that's all I have, but while you're in this menu, you can push right and left to switch between different seeds that you have. Now, I've got this thing ready to go, and you see when I'm aiming, I'm actually going to aim a little bit more like this. I'm going to fire that, and you just push right trigger and you're shooting the seeds into the ground, which is pretty hilarious. I only have 3. If you miss, the seeds will bounce out and you can reclaim them, I believe. So you don't have to worry too much, but you do need to be accurate until you get some upgrades. So that's been built, and now it's our job to, you guessed it, switch tools until we get to our water gun, and here it is. We need to water our crops. So I'm just going to aim at it and hold right trigger until I get enough water, till you can see that the dirt turns dark brown and there's like a puddle there. It doesn't matter. You can't overwater it. You can waste water, but you can't kill your plants by like overwatering or something. So now I've got these seeds in there. I've planted them all, looking really good. My next step is to build the upgrade depot. So the upgrade depot is in the star menu of the categorical tabs in the build screen. And I'm going to go over here and show you. It's the third menu, or it's the third icon along this radial. And I'm going to build it just kind of over here, away from my farm and away from my sleeping area. It doesn't matter necessarily where this is. It doesn't need to be close to your shed. It's just more for convenience. And I'm going to build it right there.
That'll be useful.
I hope so. Now, I'm going to put it there, but you'll notice that I can't build it because I don't have any aluminum frames. So aluminum frames, you're like, well, where do I get those? I'm going to select my spike saw and just chop this up and get these. And here's all the oil that's been done. I'm going to open up the presser and just queue up a bunch more. So I have only one presser, but you might want to have more than one presser to keep it rolling so that you are always producing oil. You don't have to do that. It's not that intense, but later we might build more than one. Now, what we need to do if we want to be able to build the aluminum frames is build this structure right here, which is called an assembler. So I'm going to select it, and I'm going to put it in the shed. Remember, we want it to be in the shed in a way that the blue line is connecting it, and right here that looks great. I'm going to build it right there. Push B to close this, and then just hold what we've got. Now I need to add stones, so we're going to need to go get some stone. So, well, there's a whole bunch of stone right here. Let's just smash it with our fantastic spike saw. And there's resources that we need all over the place here that we can just go pick up. And that's 5 stone right there, for example. We need stone for pretty much everything that we're building. So, let's get a bunch. Stone is very heavy, though. Alright. Hey! Just flying along. And I'm going to run over here. And I'm going to finish building this. Well, not quite, because I need aluminum. And then I'm going to go put the stone that I need into this guy. And there we go. Looks good. So aluminum. Well, look, some aluminum has popped down here. Remember, we saw it before, but not in this spot. New day, new spawn point of some aluminum. So we can go over here and just get some. And remember, a lot of aluminum was left out because we couldn't carry it. And it has despawned. So it looks like maybe at the end of the day it respawns, or there might be a timer. I'm not sure what the time limit is, but this is why it's important to have enough carry capacity or to build some storage, and we'll look into doing that in a moment. Now if I push select, I have plenty of space, and I have 4 aluminum rods, so I'm going to go get some more. None here, sadly.
Perhaps a more light-footed approach is needed here. Maybe we should leave the mech behind if we want to get close.
You could see that's an empty aluminum area over there. So sometimes you're looking for aluminum and it's a little bit difficult to find it at first, but once you learn where it spawns and you are feeding the animals and such, you're going to have plenty of it. Now look at this little hole right here. This is something where if I get out of my mech on foot, I can run in here, and you see these kind of glowing mushroom guys. I can explore this. And, well, what's in here? I mean, there is a blue color flower, and there's some eggs, and there's a little bit of aluminum. So I can get this, if I want. And we can pick it up, and looks, you can pick up more than one. Let's see how many, if we can pick up 3. Yeah, so we could pick up all of these and just take them outside. So we found another place that a little bit of aluminum can go. And we can just drop it here for our mech. Now I'm going to go in and just very quickly explore the rest of this and make sure there's nothing else that we were missing. So we can jump up here and just kind of look around. Mushroom Man. And remember, if it doesn't indicate that it's something important, petrified eggs. Well, maybe we should get those. And I'm going to just pick them up and take them out. And then I'm going to drop everything, get in my mech, and just walk on this stuff. And we picked it up. So we got petrified eggs, and we got 3 aluminum rods. And that seems pretty awesome. So now I'm going to run back to our base. Now, because I've built a tent, we have a home, and you see the little house icon that's on the map. So, or on the compass at the top center of the heads-up display. We can use that to orient, or if I go to the map, the world map, you'll see that our house is now labeled. So it's right here, and we can use this to kind of get back as well. That's another advantage of building a house. Oh my goodness, look at all of these. So we want as many polyberry seeds as we can get, so that we can start farming some polyberry. And now this guy wants stone and aluminum frames and aluminum rods. We gave it enough for that, but what about this guy? Bam! We finished it. So we had enough aluminum to finish the assembler. We're going to use it. And here you can make aluminum frames and aluminum parts. However, we need more aluminum rods, and for this we need polyberry oil, which, you guessed it, we will get from harvesting the polyberries once they grow. So before we go to sleep, it's probably in our best interest to plant all these polyberries that we got. Do some advanced level farming. Oh, you see that's what happens when you miss? And you can just walk over it and pick it back up. And then we're going to select our water. And just kind of, you can hold it down and just hit multiple areas. And this isn't the most efficient watering, but it's done. So we've got our bed watered. And let's complete the portion of the quest to go to sleep. They are asking us to do that. And you don't have to do this. But if you do, hold X to get out of your mech. Stretch in the legs indeed, and then you just walk over to your tent and you push X, and when you go to this screen it'll tell you that if you get 1 coziness, so you fill up that gauge all the way to 1, you get this effect, Keen Eye, which gives you a chance to find additional resources in the wild, which is pretty tremendous actually. We're going to sleep even though we don't have it, and we're going to go to day 4. And this just kind of helps progress the quest along. So now that
Wakey, wakey, partner.
is not up there.
I'm feeling really good about today. Bet we'll run into something amazing.
So it's raining, which is great for our crop situation. And we're going to get inside here.
Skedaddle.
Let's skedaddle. So there's a few things we want to do. We need to finish the upgrade depot. And we also want to... Oh, where did my upgrade depot go? Maybe I didn't add anything to it, and so it fell apart. But at the same time, I thought I had placed that blueprint. Anyway, we're going to go to the upgrade depot, which is right here,
That'll be useful.
and put it right there. And then we can add 1 aluminum rod, and we need 24 stone also to add to that. Now let me look at my inventory. I have these eggs that I found, and you see how these are treasures. These petrified eggs that we found in the cave, it says they're $250 and they can be sold for a pretty penny. So anytime games tell you in the description of an item that it can be sold, that means that's pretty much what it's for. These are petrified, you're not doing much with them. So this is a treasure that we found, and in fact, if we go to the world map, you can see that in the meadows we found 1 of 7 treasures. So that's what we're talking about with treasures, going into caves, finding valuable items that you can sell to the merchant. The merchant is unlocked pretty soon, but anyway, let's go ahead over here, and we're going to use our spike saw and just get stone. Alright, we've already got 8. Let's check on the aluminum situation. It looks okay. Alright. And let's see. Okay. And how much stone do I have? I have enough. So let's go over here. And we can just kind of drop this in here. Alright, all the aluminum and stone is now there. We just need the aluminum frames. Now, to make aluminum frames, let's go to our assembler. And you see we just need aluminum rods, and that's it. So we can do that. But before we do that, I think it's important for us to go to the build screen and build this storage box. So I'm going to select this. You do not, in my experience, you don't need to put this inside your shed. Even though it highlights, this just highlights telling you whenever you're in the build menu, you know, that it's going to go there. But I like to put it kind of near my shed. I'm going to put it right here. if it were the case that this would draw items from it when crafting, I would put it in the shed, but it doesn't do that. So you want to put it someplace that's easily accessible when you're in your mech. Tremendous. Okay. So I'm going to run over here. And we're going to just drop this in. And that's done. Now you can push X and go into the storage box. And you can just push the A button to move the stack over. So I'm going to move over things that I do not need to carry right now. Like these flowers. For example, some of this stuff. Yeah, that looks great. Just open up my inventory a bit. I'm going to put even this stone, this wood, and this aluminum over there because those are heavy. And even my plant fiber. And I'll just remember that it's there. Now, it is worth mentioning that the storage box does have a max weight, and it's the same as your inventory, so it can't hold a ton. You're going to have to build a few of those. Alright, so I'm going to run out, and we need to find some aluminum to finish this. Here's some aluminum.
Maybe we should leave the mech behind if we want to get close.
She's telling you that these animals, these rapscallions, are afraid of the mech. So if you want to feed the animals, you need to get out of your mech and do it by hand. Now you might ask, why would I do that? Well, I don't have any animal food anyway, but we'll do that in a moment, probably in the next episode when we feed animals. But very quickly, the reason that you get out of your mech to feed some animals that get scared is you can either feed the nest or you can feed the animal. And if you feed the nest, you get the credit for feeding the animals in the zone and helping the items replenish faster, which is great. But if you feed animals directly, they kind of like dig up a resource for you when you do that to say thank you, and you could get some really nice stuff. They give you stuff from the region, in my experience, and so like if there's a, you know, they could give you aluminum or something like that we're looking for, and it's really great. You're like, oh, thank you. So I'm kind of going out here, and I'm looking for aluminum, but while I'm down here, let me show you this. There are, let's see if we can find any. Yep, there's crabs. So there's these crabs. These are the other animal types that are out here. So you could feed the crabs directly, or you could come over here. Yep, we scared it with our mech. And feed their base. Now the mech can only go into shallow water, and you as a player can't go into water at all. You basically drown, but the game doesn't kill you because it's so nice. It just puts you right back next to your mech. So we could go up there if we wanted, and it looks like that might be a spot for aluminum, but it also might be a spot for a resource from that other zone. So I'm going to switch to my vacuum, and I'm going to pick up all these seeds. While we're out here, might as well get these polyberry seeds, because we're going to need that oil. Now, see, this is Pine Heights up here, so that means that we're in another zone, and they may have aluminum, but generally, the zones that are corrupted that you need to clean up, a lot of their good resources will not become active until you have cleaned it. But the Meadows begins the game clean, so we're in good shape. Oh my gosh.
Whoop, you all right there?
So that is what happens if you try to jump and hit a tree when you're running. The mech is so easy to tip over. It's pretty funny. I have to laugh at it. Alright, let's go over here. Let's pick up this. Tremendous. We got some polyberry. Another thing you can do when you're in the meadows, beyond just, picking up resources and such, is look for treasure. Look for those hidden areas to see if you can find treasures. And sometimes it's not in a cave. Sometimes it's just sitting out, like a geode fragment or shard, for example. It's getting to be late. Now, the cool thing you can do, when it gets late, is just go and sleep if you can't find any aluminum, and then the aluminum in the areas that you know where it will spawn will probably repopulate there, and the more animals you have fed, the more it will. Back to the meadows. Tremendous. Okay. There's this cool looking cliff. Now let's head back up here. And you see all this purple stuff. What is this?
Oh, I forgot to mention this huge door. It completely slipped my mind. Did some scans on it many years ago, but the readings were mostly nonsense.
So, there's a giant locked door, and it has 2 arrows on it that are unlocked, and it's just kind of something to pay attention to and be aware of. What's that down there? Large green tree. We can't cut this down because it says spike saw upgrade required, so we can't actually chop that. Now, if I look at the map, if I were to go back here, I would probably go into a different zone. We don't really want to do that right now, but I did want to just show you this, which is to explain that there are these ancient ruins that are about. Now, one thing I will also tell you is I always want to check in these waterfall areas for treasure, but remember, your character cannot swim. Your mech is too big to get there, and if you try to get out and go there, it's going to end badly. Alright, so I'm heading this back here, just looping around, staying in the meadows. And we're kind of up on this cliff, looking down. Alright, that rock unceremoniously got in our way. And I believe this is... right, yeah, right where we come in. Okay. Wonderful. And here we go. So this is another place of aluminum that I wanted to show you. We were up there on the cliff. We just kind of fell down. But first of all, let's get our vacuum out. And let's get these polyberries. Turn on our flashlight. Make life a little easier. And here's aluminum. And I'm going to go ahead and get out my spike saw. We're just going to bap, bap, bap. So you'll memorize these. You'll memorize the routes to the aluminum as you explore. And you'll be able to hit these up. But one of the reasons I like this starter base location that we have is that it puts us, very close. You see the aluminum is right to the south of our base. And then over to the east, by the water, there's more aluminum, and then by the Ratscallion nest, there's a little bit more. So you're right by aluminum. You've got trees, rocks, and water. So everything we need is right here. I'm going to go into the assembler, and we're going to make aluminum frames. Now, the assembler makes things instantly, so you don't have to wait like the oil press. So we need to make 2, 3, 4. Is that how many frames we need? And when you make it, you see that you can make a cabin and a flagpole. So some new stuff unlocks. And here we go. And we did it. Now we have built the mech upgrade station. And they want us to get an upgrade on the depot. And for the mech. And this is where you unlock the tech tree for your mech. And we'll take a look at that, as well as feeding animals and other stuff in the next episode. Everyone, this is going to be a beginner's guide series because there's so much to explain and do in this game, and I really want to be thorough so that you can enjoy the game and have no surprises and have full explanation on all of the fundamentals of the game. I want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you have found this to be useful, and I hope you're enjoying the game. If you have any questions, please post those in the comments below, and if you are a pro Lightyear Frontier player and you want to leave any advice for new players or clarify any points that I've made, that would be awesome. Just make sure you do so in a way that's not spoilery and it is beginner friendly. Okay, everyone, thanks again. Take care.